Celtics win 107-102 in overtime. Jimmy's out. We replace him with the taller guy. Garter Report, Celticsblog, and CLNS Radio. And this is the Garter Report. The Celtics win 107-102 in overtime over Atlanta. They tie Atlanta in the standings. They're moving up the rankings, tied for sixth place with Atlanta in that one. They have a shot to make the playoffs, it looks like. So Celtics accomplishing that goal. Jimmy Toscano is not here tonight because he is rooting for his brother, or was rooting for his brother, to advance to the semifinals in the Division I state tournament for men's basketball in New Hampshire. And they won.
And next year, Jimmy's going to make the team.
That's right. Going to the semis.
Well, he's going to try out.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're assuming Jimmy's brother's a little bit taller than him. So don't worry, Jimmy. We're always giving you backhanded compliments because we love you. But we got B-Jax from Celticshub with us tonight, ESPN True Hoop affiliate.
Yes, sir.
And SB Nation affiliate, Celticsblog, Evans Clinchy right here. My name is Jared Weiss. I am from CLNSradio.com. No affiliate. We're independent.
You don't need an affiliate.
Yeah, I wish I had a mommy to cuddle me, blog-wise. But the Celtics win in overtime. They have, it seems, overtime every single game this year. They have 16 overtime periods, I believe, now.
They've won 98 overtime games this season.
Apparently so. So the most overtimes in the history of the franchise in regular season. And they're winning. They keep winning these ones. They had the Miami one a few weeks ago. They keep winning these ones. And it's because of Paul Pierce and Jason Terry. Just two huge performances for those guys. We'll really dig into those. But we'll just take you to the last couple possessions in this one. You had Josh Smith throw the game away twice. Could have been a Celtic, should have been a Celtic, would have been a Celtic, Josh Smith.
Let's not go there.
And while the guy put up a ridiculous stat line that we'll get to in boxing out, the guy throws the ball away twice to end this game. You have Paul Pierce hit two beautiful step-back, classic Paul Pierce rainbows to give him the lead, and then Jason Terry hits the dagger to win them the game from the top of the key off a brilliant Paul Pierce pass. B-Jax, we'll start with you. Which was more remarkable? Was it Josh Smith giving away the game, or Paul Pierce and Terry winning the game for the Celtics?
What's funny is both those things are kind of expected. You know, Josh Smith is throughout his career has been the quintessential trick-or-treat player, only like trick-or-treat superstar. You know, like if Tony Allen is the trick-or-treat player, Josh Smith is the trick-or-treat superstar.
Or star.
Say
that prefix for,
Yeah, we can quibble over that. I mean, he's a defensive. He's an amazing defensive player, and he almost put up a triple-double. I mean, he looks the part, right? But then that ridiculous behind-the-back pass that if only Horford had, he had a place for the ball to go instead of right into Jason Terry's breadbasket, it would have been a sweet play. But no, he turns the ball over at a crucial point. And then that rifle to Horford that through the lane, KG tipped it right off of Horford. It looked like his face from where we were.
Yeah, we weren't sure, but
yeah. Yeah, it's just poor Josh Smith, and every time he goes to shoot the ball, it's like, oh, sweet, like, he's gonna take a long jumper.
Well, I thought the big win of the game was when they were able to force Smith on the last shot to have to just basically take a step back on the elbow, which is a shot that he thinks is a shot, but it's absolutely not his shot.
Right.
So you got to give them credit for the remarkable defense of Forrest Smith into taking some just awful step back elbow jumpers. And he goes 3 for 9 from deep tonight. So for all that great stat line, he still hucks up 9 3-point shots. He's not a 3-point shooter.
You call it a great stat line, but it was just high volume everything. I mean, the guy gets 32 points. It takes him 27 shots to get there. He gets 9 assists, also 5 turnovers. Like, if you have the ball and you're doing something on every single play, the numbers are going to pile up good and bad. And this was, like you said, the ultimate trick-or-treat player, just giving it his all on both sides of it.
No, you're absolutely right. 27 field goal attempts is way too high. But
it's incredible.
We've seen him stuff the stat sheet before. You're right. I wouldn't go as far to say he's a superstar, but he's definitely got some talent.
For sure.
He's at least a supernova.
He's a super something. You talked about Paul Pierce and Jason Terry winning them the game. Perhaps the most impressive thing, or most surprising thing at least, was that Terry won the game not just on offense but on D. And we've seen this a few times in the last month or so, that Jason Terry stepped up and made the big defensive play when the Celtics have needed it. I mean, tonight, he there was a couple of things he did. Like, he had a steal late in the game on a pass from Smith. And there was another play where he stepped up and made a great defensive play, too. I mean, he guarded Kyle Korver in overtime. Like, Kyle Korver, who's the three-point weapon that's supposed to seal the game for the Hawks. And what does Terry do? He comes in and guards the hottest shooter on the team, holds him to, 1-3 the whole game? I mean, you don't expect it from Terry, but he's the defensive stopper that you never expected from the Celtics team.
All right, we'll talk about
crazy.
Korver getting shut down, but first let's hear from Doc on it.
Listen, Jason had 19 points, but I thought the thing he did better than anything was he guarded Korver. And he was like glue. He just stayed on him, took away his shots. I think Korver ended up getting the 1-3. He had that streak going, so we were trying to end that dang streak, and he got it late in the game. But I just thought overall his defense was huge for us tonight.
So Korver gets shut down. Didn't hit his first three until pretty much the end of the game. He had 8 threes. That's right, first and only. 8 threes in the last game against the Celtics when they made that unbelievable comeback, in which his three-point shooting was the reason that the Hawks made that comeback. He only hits 1 tonight, and it was Terry's fault. We'll call it fault. It was Terry's fault.
To Terry's credit.
I believe it was a broken play, to be honest with you. I think it was like a long rebound. Didn't Horford tip it out and it went? I don't remember.
You're right. It was Horford tipped it out, and Korver rotated over to the elbow, and then he got the kick out there. And it was wide open. Nobody was close to him.
Yeah, but I do think it was a broken play. I could be wrong. We'll go back to the tape.
I could be impressed either way.
But so they've been running the manwich, which I think is the funniest word ever made.
Did you make that up? Because I've never heard anybody else say that.
I kept hearing that all over Twitter.
In your head, the voices in your head are calling it the manwich. Go on, sorry.
But so this manwich zone, I saw a quote that Doc said that on Twitter. So,
okay.
And I've been hearing the manwich every day.
The internet's always
Remember,
right.
Forsberg had a headline with it on ESPN Boston.
All right.
About the manwich. But so whatever. So this man hybrid zone, they didn't run it a ton tonight. Doc told me before the game that the reason that while you're running zone, it's easier to jam Korver up because Korver gets all of his stuff by running curls underneath, getting a lot of pin downs, cross screens. You can't do that as much with the zone because the zone's kind of clogging that area. But the problem with that is that if he gets through and you're running zone, you're screwed because he's going to get wide open looks. So they don't do that for the most part tonight, and they put the task on Terry. And Terry has shown so far this year he might not be a wonderful kind of pick and roll defender and great on ball defender, but he's a really good chaser. Probably because he's a guy that makes people chase him around the court. Yeah. And I think a lot of these matchups where they go with classic shooting guards that just run curls around the court the entire time, Terry usually is getting the assignment and doing a good job on them.
Yeah, one thing you notice about Korver is that he's really quick to get his shot. He needs like a millisecond, just catch, shoot, get it up there. He doesn't need to set his feet. He doesn't need a couple of seconds to collect himself. He just gets it and shoots it. And you zone against a guy like that, and he's just gonna light you up because you don't have time to get out to him. So like you said, you need a chaser. You need a guy like Jason Terry who can run around screens and get him and run him down. And he did that all night long. And Terry's a million years old, and he's still chasing guys around screens and guarding them well. So give him credit. He was pretty impressive.
All right, well, B-Jax, his shooting has been phenomenal. What are you seeing different with the way he's getting his shots? Because obviously his shooting form doesn't change, but the way that he's getting his shots, I think, has been a little bit better, really.
You're talking about Jet?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've noticed a couple of things late in the last couple of games. I think which is kind of crazy to say, I think he's being more unconscious about it. There's been a couple where he'll get it in the corner and he'll just jack it up. Like some guy will be right there. Like every other player will get in a 3-point or 3-point stance, not 3-point stance. You know what I'm talking about? It's triple threat, and dish it off, swing it or something. He's like, no, it's going up, and it's working. It's working really well for him.
In a way, you kind of wish the whole team would be like that.
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't Jeff Green or Courtney Lee or Brandon Bass, why don't these guys just get the ball, have their shot, and take it? There's all this hesitation, but Jason Terry's a veteran. He's made a million big shots in his life. He knows if he gets his shot, he's going to take it with confidence. And, I think it's inspiring, and the whole team can learn from that.
I especially notice it with Jeff Green and Avery Bradley.
Avery Bradley, yeah.
It's just when guys sag off of them at the top of the key or on either side of, like, just right in front of the basket, they're looking to pass, which is, honestly, probably what they should be doing. But at one of those times, let it fly. You're going to open up passing angles inside if someone has to pressure you that much more.
Sometimes they're not even looking to pass; they're just looking to hold the ball for 3 seconds and give the defense time to collect themselves, and it kills possessions when you do that.
A little bit, yeah.
So the fact that Terry's confident enough to do anything with the ball, anything at all, is encouraging, and
Well, we saw the other night he dribbled through 2 guys. That was kind of like some street ball quality ball handling from Jet. He's a very conservative ball handler. But Jet talked after the game, as did Doc and Paul, I think, too. Well, you'll see a bunch of guys talk right now about the way he's been shooting after the game. So Jason talked to CLNS Radio about that after the game.
you say about Jason? Guy who gets brought in here for a number of reasons, one of which is to make big shots and big moments.
Yeah, Jason really stepped up. We count on him late in game. Even if he doesn't get the shot, he's such a threat late in games that you can't come off of him. He's hit so many big shots throughout his career. He's a champion. He understands the moment, and that's why we have him here.
And then he's so clever. That last play, what Paul was laughing at when Jet got the foul, we've been trying to get Jet to slip that like for literally a quarter, and he kept setting the pick. And they were showing, so if he slips, he'll be open, and he finally did it and got the shot, so that was great.
You guys have had all your double-digit three-point made games in the last 12 games or so. Do you feel, clearly you've been a big part of that, do you feel a difference in your stroke, or are you just getting better looks?
Well, I think it's about the ball movement. Guys are passing up good shots to get a great one. The shot Jeff Green hit in the corner was all predicated on Paul Pierce passing up a good shot at the basket to get him a wide-open look in his spot. The reason why we're getting good threes also is guys are recognizing where they can shoot from. Jeff's great in the corners. I'm good from anywhere. Paul, anywhere across half court. So, guys understanding their role and where they like to get it at, and it makes for high percentages.
Yeah. All right, so you heard Paul talk. Let's talk about him. His stat line was fantastic. We'll hear it in a second, boxing out. But he just did everything that they needed him to do. And the biggest play of all, he had 2 amazing step-back shots in overtime, but that great wraparound pass to find Terry wide open on the top of the key. Because I don't think anybody saw Terry curling over to the top of the key, but we're kind of looking into the corner, because I didn't think there was any chance Pierce was going to be able to get that pass off, because he was going up in the air. He was well covered by Horford, I think, on the right next to the rim. I mean, that was one of Pierce's best passes in a while, B-Jacks.
Well, don't forget the one he hit Green on going to
that's true, yeah.
That was Pierce, right? Didn't he get right to the
so.
rim and then saw Green on that 3 and that put them up 1? It was just like a huge momentum turner. And I'm not a big believer in those kind of plays, but they were down 2, and they had been winning all game. The fact that they were able to get not only they were under the hump, then get over it, it was huge. So yeah, Pierce had some huge plays. I was more impressed by the assists. I hated the hero ball. I even tweeted about it because they had this beautiful play in Indiana for a game winner, and then they go out and almost 3 straight possessions. I think it was 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Yeah.
Pierce takes a step back jumper, but
if you've watched the last decade, you can't be surprised.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Exactly. I'm not. Everyone wants that, New York minute. Nate Robinson jumping on his back.
We all want Nate Robinson jumping on his back. Let's be serious here.
But I think part of that was that in the Indiana game, they were kind of exposing their defense a little bit on the weak side, while tonight Atlanta was just kind of in full force on the perimeter. They weren't really breaking through as easily as they were against Indiana.
I guess. I think good execution trumps hero ball,
of course,
every time.
Always, yeah.
I would rather than miss a wide open shot than the Pierce pull-up. He has a longer defender. He had Smith on him, and he's not a slouch. He's not, as good a perimeter defender as, a Tony Allen or something. Someone who's really quick, but he's long and he's athletic. It's just the step-back jumper from 22 feet is just like, ugh.
It doesn't have to be the star every time. I mean,
Exactly.
give me a wide open Courtney Lee over a contested Paul Pierce. Like, come on.
And the KG jumper, that was great. It was an actual play. They set up, and that was the would-be game winner, right? Yeah. And instead of you see Paul Pierce dribbling, you're like, oh gosh, here it comes again.
You see him standing there, and everybody else just standing there, and it's like, oh, this is going to happen again. Okay.
Exactly. And KG got a pretty open shot. It was in his sweet spot. He just missed it.
And the funny thing is, they ran a pull-up for KG. How often do we see that? He gets spot-ups all the time.
Right.
But they ran a play for him to come around on a curl, get a pin down, and actually pull up off the catch. They're running him like a shooting guard out there. I can't remember the last time I ever saw KG run that type of play.
I think they got him the ball just a second too late, too, because he had to do that. Didn't he do a fake crossover or a hesitation dribble pull-up?
Yeah, he kind of does that sometimes, though, just to get his rhythm, because he's really obsessed with doing a dribble just to get his rhythm.
Yeah. And just to create that little bit of space. I don't know. I mean, he missed it, but that's okay. I mean, I take that shot over the Paul Pierce shot.
Oh, God, yes.
Of the time,
All right, well, let's go into the box score. Let's box out. B-Jacks, what's your set of the night?
I want to go back to Josh Smith being that trick-or-treat star. 9 3-point attempts. You know, and this is a guy who was supposed to kind of curtail that. He was supposed to have gone through a renaissance. I'm not a 3-point shooter anymore. I'll take it if it's open. But if you're playing Josh Smith, that's exactly what you want. You want
It's
him
open a
shoot.
lot. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think his definition of opens may be a little bit open-ended.
Yeah, nice.
No, the
Wordplay.
Celtics are letting it be open.
Waka
That's-
waka.
Aha, wordplay.
I'd be interested to go back and look at see if there are any end of the shot clocks, end of the game clock, quarters or whatever. But 9 is way too much.
If the shot clock expires and you've got Josh Smith 24 feet away, you've done something wrong in the last 24 seconds.
No, very true. Or the Celtics are doing something really right.
And that's a team that has Kyle Korver on its roster, most important.
Oh, poor Korver.
about that
I was
guy.
trying to get that trending because if
Poor
you take
Korver.
away his 3-point shot, he has nothing.
Yeah.
He
You
tried
saw
to,
the sad face on the telecast, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
When he fouled
Yeah.
Terry, it was a bad foul
Come on,
too.
people. Hashtag poor Korver. Let's do this.
Seriously, I mean, there were a couple times where he would finish a curl but go through the lane because Terry was right up on him. And he's 6'8", Jason Terry's 6'2", and he was still
If
not
that.
getting the ball,
Yeah.
still not open enough to actually get the ball and finish at the rim. It was just poor Korver.
Poor Korver.
All right, so what's your stat on that, Evans?
My stat of the night is 46. The Celtics had 46 bench points. You'd think that it's all about Pearson Garnett, but tonight 19 from Terry, 12 from Jeff Green, 9 from Jordan Crawford, 6 from Chris Wilcox. They outscored the Hawks 46-8 off the bench. We thought the Celtics had no depth at all after all these injuries. They got all the depth in the world right now. 46-8. There you go.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So for me, we just talked about it. Kyle Korver gets 1-3, and it wasn't even till like the late fourth quarter. Basically, Jason Terry, Courtney Lee hold him out to no threes for pretty much the entire game. The guy played 38 minutes tonight. That's unbelievable. He hit 8 threes in the second half against them in their last matchup. And really, Kyle Korver has been tearing teams up this year. Give Danny Ferry credit. They get rid of Joe Johnson. They kind of start to get that roster out. And Kyle Korver, for the first time in God knows how long, since like his Philly or Utah days, is being used again as like a go-to 3-point shooter for the entire game as opposed to like kind of like a coming off the bench specialist. He came off the bench tonight, but maybe just because Harris has been playing pretty good defense lately. He's been playing pretty good all-around ball. But Korver, for most of the season, has been one of the key parts of their offense. So to hold him to 1 for 4 from deep, and that was pretty much his entire shooting tonight, in 38 minutes is pretty much unbelievable, especially when you know that it's Terry who's doing it. All right, well, let's go to our Baller of the Night. This is the MVP of tonight's game. B-Jax, we'll start with you just because we haven't gotten to give him enough love yet.
I got to go with the truth. Hero ball, be damned or whatever. It's awful, but it's just so fun when it works, and it worked 2 out of 3 times late in the fourth quarter. And he hit a big shot in overtime. And without Paul Pierce, man, this last decade for Celtics basketball would just be awful. And I keep saying this year because you can kind of feel it coming. When Paul Pierce finally retires, it's going to be sad. I feel like jaded. I feel like we're spoiled as Celtics fans because we get to see him every day, and we take him for granted, I would say. And we're not going to see a player like that in the Celtics for a long time.
Okay, well, yesterday a report came out from Woj, who else, of course, from Yahoo, Adrian Wojnarowski, if you don't know who Woj is. The Celtics had pretty much a tentative deal in place to get Paul Pierce traded out and Josh Smith in, but Atlanta wanted an extra first-round pick.
Right, it wasn't in place because there was a large gap
in place
between.
as far as that they set up the trade. It wasn't principally agreed to. But the Celtics were on the verge of sending Paul Pierce out for Josh Smith. B-Jax, since you love Josh Smith and Paul Pierce so much, only one of those was sarcastic. I really want to get your opinion here. What do you think about that trade in hindsight of seeing what those two guys did tonight? Where I think you got like the exemplification of those two guys' games.
Right, who Paul Pierce is and who Josh Smith is. Josh Smith is still a young player. He's been in the league forever, but he came right out of high school. So I think there is value in Josh Smith. You put him with strong veterans like Paul Pierce. You don't ship out Paul Pierce for him. And he can still kind of curtail some of that 3-point shooting, those bad turnovers, because he actually is a good passer. It was poor display tonight, but as for the report, all of our ideas of trading Paul Pierce was getting young talent and draft picks back. So to think that we would just get one young talent and one building block and Josh Smith and also send out picks didn't make any sense.
Right.
So the fact that that was the sticking point made complete sense to me.
It's also impossible to judge this trade without knowing how likely the Celtics were to re-sign Josh Smith after this summer.
Right.
I mean, we know that he's best buddies with Rajon Rondo, and we know that, playing for Doc and with KG would be an allure, but, there's money and there's nice weather and there's all these attractive things elsewhere that we don't know what Josh is going to do in the summer, and we can't bank, the team's whole future on maybe this guy will stay, maybe he won't. You can't gamble like that, whereas Pierce, he's here for a couple of years, he's a sure thing. He's old, but he's still getting it done.
Especially if you're going to take that gamble, you need to have a championship, competing team. And if you ship Pierce out, it's over.
Yeah.
Because Josh Smith isn't going to give you what Pierce gives you in a playoff situation in terms of scoring, in terms of being the everyman.
And you would assume that Kevin Garnett trade probably would have gone down if they're getting rid of Pierce. Kevin, it definitely seemed that definitely would want to leave if Pierce was getting shipped out. He doesn't want to stick around for a rebuild with Josh Smith.
Well, and that's a rebuild, they hope.
Yeah.
They're going to get a handshake agreement? Probably not. So.
That's true. All right, well, follow the Knights, Terry, for all the reasons that we stated. We got to wrap this show up. Thank you for joining us. The Bruins are getting ready for their home ice, as you can hear in the background. B-Jax, thanks for joining the show tonight.
Absolutely.
You can find
Pleasure.
him at CelticsHub.com, Celticsblog.com, and CLNSradio.com. Celtics win 107-102 in overtime over the Hawks. 5-game winning streak. Let's do it, guys.
Woo!
Hooray. Garden Report, we're out.